All the content contained in this webcast is for informational purposes only. The investments and strategies contained in this webcast may not be suitable for you. Please consult your own independent financial advisor before making any investment or trading decisions. Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Wednesday's edition of PremarketInfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day, the first hour. Well, Dennis, Dell's going to hell.
Dell's going to hell. Start the show off with a bang there, Joel. A bang down, that is. It's down 2 points here. I've got a weekly chart up there just showing you basically here. So we've got $13 as a low that was hit in early 2011. We are hanging out right there right now, 1307. So this whole 13 area is pretty critical. The 52-week low, which was hit right back there in July, was 1329, July of last year. So obviously this level here, this whole 13 area, is critical for Dow to hold. Maybe it gets a bounce here, I'm not sure. I mean, it's down 13%. I don't know if it's, we're going to see like 12 today. What's your take here?
Pretty good technical analysis there, Dennis. I taught you well. 1312 and 1320 were a couple monthly lows that you had in November and December of 2010. Taking a look at the pre-market chart, you kind of got like a little bit of a rounding bottom here. You got a low at 1295, which is held, now trading up at 1307. So once again, this 13 to 1320 area is going to be critical. I think you get above 13 and 20, you get a little short covering. And I think it's going to be well bid below 13, Dennis. I mean, it's already down. I never like to talk in percentages, but it's already down 13%. So 13, I think under 13 is going to be tough. And if you really want to think that this thing's really getting taken out to the woodshed, 1179 was the low in September of 2010.
Hewlett-Packard is having a sympathy move with Dell. For full disclosure, I do have a small trading position in Hewlett-Packard. The 52-week low on this one here too, Joel, I'm going to just get you a daily, was just made there just a few days ago at 21.28. We're trading 21.20 right now, so we're just slightly below that level. But I'd keep an eye on that whole 21.28 level. And then keep in mind, Hewlett-Packard is due to report earnings after the bell today. So you could see a little bit of wild trading, obviously, before the close ahead of those earnings, Joel.
Same thing, Dennis. We bounced off 2110 just slightly in the pre-market, trading 2120. As you pointed out to our listeners, the 52-week low was 2128. Going back to the monthlies, man, you're going to have to go back way far, Dennis, to, I don't even know if I got this going back this far. Holy Toledo. Going back to '05, Dennis, that $20 level was critical. In May of '05, we hit 2012. In April of '05, we hit 1981. So next major support level, also a psychological support level, will be $20. Is Hewlett-Packard, are they still making printers, or what are they doing nowadays?
I don't know. Box maker, I think they still do all that type of stuff, but obviously they had the whole thing last year where they were trying to reinvent themselves a little bit, and the market didn't like that, and that was when the stock went from 32 down to, I think, $25 in the first place, just kind of been drifting lower. Obviously they've had all kinds of problems here in the last year, but you never know. Like, look at a stock like Best Buy. It off its earnings report, remember, it got that initial pop. So, if you're trading this after the bell, it gets that initial pop. A lot of times you'll see, oh, they beat, handily on the number. They didn't lower guidance and do anything bad. But it seems like there's so many people underwater in this that buyers are usually met with sellers. So it wouldn't surprise me if they did beat after the bell, that if it got that pop, maybe you got to think about if you're in the position, maybe lightening up, because I think any pop this thing gets just keeps getting met with sellers. Moving on though, Joel, so we don't talk about these box makers all day. We've had a few other earnings, Big Lots, one we talked about a little while back on the show. BIG is trading 32.75 right now here, Joel, so it's down over $2. I got a low in the pre-market at 32. I think that's right. Weekly. Yep. This was a critical level here, Joel. I'm just looking 34.46, 34.53, 34.58. and 34, just the lows here from the last month or so. So we had like a 4 bottom. We've taken that whole area out. Now it gets tricky to find support levels, especially this thing is volatile off of earnings. Like that, I had a wild ride here a little while ago ahead of this report, when we went down from 46 bucks all the way down in this area. And, so it wouldn't surprise me if this thing, has trouble finding levels to hold. What's your take here?
Well, boy, I tell you, that looks like one gap that doesn't look like it's going to be filled for quite a while here. Looking at the pre-market, we did get the bounce off 32, Dennis, but please, Dennis, look at the volume in this thing. Very light volume in
Yep.
the pre-market. So, beware of that kind of activity as we saw in Ralph Lauren yesterday. I still like this 32.55 area. That was a low back in October of 11. So I think 32.55 down to 32 should be pretty good support in this thing. 30.79 was a low back in October, or excuse me, in September of 2011. So that would be your next stopping point. And of course, any move back up to this 34.50 area, there are going to be a lot of people praying that they get to sell at that level. Again, you had all those bottoms there in the high 34s. So that's going to be resistance for quite some time.
A few other ones here that are moving, Joel. Ford in the news here. Just bring up the chart here for you. Ford got raised to investment grade at Moody's there after the bell, and the stock is trading higher here, Joel. 10.29. So on a day we're down 10 bucks in SPOOs. Ford, it's good for the D. We're getting a little bit of lift here on Ford. And GM, I think, was trading up a little bit. Actually, it's trading down now. Last night traded up a little bit in sympathy with it. GM is trading down a little bit here now at 21.39. But Ford, man, this $10 level is critical for Ford to hold. It has bounced off there a few days ago. Good news, that it is getting this little bit of a lift, but can it hold on to these gains?
Yeah, Dennis. I mean, as much I like to be bullish. These car companies. I mean, just this whole rally, they've just been left out like a redheaded stepchild. The 1050, about 1043, 1050. That's been the high over the last week or two in this stop. So unless it gets back over and holds 1050, I'd say hands off on the long side. Looks like it's going to go back again and test this $10 level. 996 was a low back on May 18th. And then you also had the lows back in December of last year at this level. And then, of course, the 52-week low at 975, Dennis. But it just doesn't. I mean, how many times have you seen Ford pop up on an open like this and then just not be able to maintain its the momentum?
Yeah, I do have nice technical support at the $10 level, though. So
Yeah, all day
if you sit
long,
on your
Dennis.
hands, maybe it eventually does pull back to maybe not today, but maybe in the next few days gets back to that $10 level. Then you don't have to buy it up at 10.27 here, because you're talking a $10 stock that's 2.5% off of the support level. So yeah, you are paying up a little bit here. So I think you might get a chance to buy it off that $10 level again. I mean, you've had a few chances in the past, so you may get another chance. So think about that level too. GES reported earnings after the bell, Joel. This one went for a wild ride. It traded down on the initial report pretty significantly. Joel grabbed the after hours low there for you. It is trading higher now, though, 26.39. Again, very light volume, so it's always hard to judge where these things are going to open when it's only traded a few hundred shares. We do have a few tops here in this 26.24 area, though, so interesting that it's kind of finding a home there at the 26.39. What was the pre-market or after hours low there after reported, Joel?
2289.
So yeah, they rocked it. 22.89 down to. It means like they just couldn't get a feel for it. And now it's up at 26.39. So what a range after hours for this $24 stock, Joel.
Right, and then on the bounce, it got up over 2650. Actually, ended up topping out at 2675, 2680. Quite a few tops in the pre-market. So I'd keep an eye on that area. I mean, the chart, Dennis, on this thing, looking at the dailies, I mean, this is just one ugly chart. I mean, it's just been from 37. It's just after that gap down, this thing's been straight down. A lot of people underwater in this stock. Looking at that pre-market high, 2680, I imagine there's some bottom pickers over the last few days here. They'll be taking a look at that. And then also this 24.20 level is very critical. 24.23, 24.26, and 37, your last three lows. So if you're a long-term trader and you want to take a shot here, buying it at the $26 level, don't be surprised as it tests 24.
Hormel Foods reported to HRL as a symbol on that one. This stock's usually a little bit thicker. It has traded up to 31.01, just a couple hundred shares, then 30.40. Looking at the chart here, though, I'm showing you the dailies. If I go out to the weeklies here, well, the weekly chart doesn't look good because I really had that gap down. But there is, if you look out, there's some action at $30.50. So you can't see it on this chart, but $30.50 was some key resistance from before. I think if it opens up into that area, that might be an area to think about. 30.50. What do you think, Joel?
This is the maker of Spam, isn't it?
I don't know what they make. They make food. Do they
I
make
think they
spam?
make
Are they the
Spam.
spam maker too?
I think so.
My
I think
grandma
so.
loves spam, so that maybe.
All right, so maybe your grandma's
The
out
problem
buying
is
this
my
stock.
grandma's 88 years old, so I don't know how much more spam she's going to be eating. But that's
So short the open off Dennis's grandmother not eating a lot of spam. Now, look at this 29.70 level, Dennis. That was a big breakout for this stock. The last few times it's got back over around this 29.70, it has fallen hard. Actually, on the last four occasions that it's visited this level, now we're trading smartly above it at 30.40. I would use that as stop out point 29.80. I think if this stock comes below there, we could easily slide back down to the $29 level. And then also you look at that 30.33 high back in December of this year. So it's trading above that too. And if you go to the monthlies on Hormel Food, find out, wow, this is like an all-time highs, Dennis. This is an interesting chart. People must be eating a lot of
it had to
spam.
have
I
a
mean,
splitter, so something didn't adjust on my chart. I don't know why it's showing like that. When I show it to the weeklies or the monthlies, it shows. I think it split. Joel must have because my chart's showing like a 51.68 high, so it must have split for some reason. Neovest software didn't pick that up. But yeah, so it is at an all-time high. You're showing on your chart then.
yeah, 30.50 is the all-time high. I mean, going back this year, looking at the daily, it's just kind of been like an accordion pattern. So we'll see. It could gap and go here, but with this market trading down as it is, you know me, how bearish I get that selling a stock at a new 52-week high. You gotta take advantage of that.
Facebook here, Joel. I'm kind of ticked at myself a little bit here on this one. I'll give you the couple day chart there on it. But I had in my head that this $30 level was maybe going to hold. I was actually bidding it after hours. And then I got this morning and it had already traded to $30. I didn't get up. I was here at 6:45 Eastern and it traded just before that. And it was trading 30 and a quarter. And I was like, well, I hope it gets back there because I want to pick some up, maybe in the pre-market here off this $30 level. Picking bottoms. Maybe I shouldn't be picking bottoms, but I had in my head this psychological 30 level was going to hold, and now it's trading up at 31.17, so it's up over a buck from that level. So I'm kind of ticked that I just missed it, but regardless, 31.22. So it's up a little bit here. It is in the news. Got initiated with a buy at Needham, so at least one analyst is coming out here saying there's some value here. I think it is critical to hold that $30 level. I think if it got below that, could be ugly for the stock. But right off the hop here, looks like it's getting a little lift, Joel.
Is Needham the first company that's initiated coverage since the IPO?
I didn't see it the last 2 days, so I didn't see
Okay,
anybody
I'm
unless
just
I'm missing
curious.
it. There may have been some other people too here, Joel. I didn't notice off the bat. I
Okay.
didn't log it. One thing to keep in mind though, it is shortable today, the stock too. But I'm hearing the borrowing costs are through the roof. I didn't look it up, but I'm hearing it's really high to borrow the stock.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Well, you got a good parameter in the pre-market to look at, Dennis. That $30 level, as you talked about with our listeners, it's a nice round number, getting in a little bit of the initial projected IPO range. Looking at the rebound here, we've got up to 31.60. That's a little ways to go here for the stock. I would look to 31.60. I would look for this thing to get a little bit of a run, perhaps start to get into yesterday's range a little bit. Holding 31 is critical, but there's no major resistance, Dennis, up until 33.59, which was yesterday's high.
Apple, Joel. It's not a show if we don't talk about Apple. Obviously, Apple had the nice run up yesterday, but then started to give it back. Opened up pretty much near the highs. Got as high yesterday here. Grabbed the high of 570. Three. That right? Yeah, 573, and then peeled back all afternoon. Really went in for a sell-off mode there in the afternoon. Lifted a bit. It's trading 553 here, so this stock is still trading pretty wild here, Joel. I still think you gotta. I'm almost a buyer pullbacks. I obviously have those puts written on the thing already, which I disclosed yesterday. So maybe I'm exposed enough. I don't know. I don't know what to say, but I think I think the thing may have seen a temporary bottom down there in that 530 area. So. What's your take on Apple?
I remember when I was doing the numbers on this on Monday night, I was looking at it and I'm like, wow, there's just nothing up to 575 because there really just wasn't any reference point, but it didn't quite get there. 573.88, Dennis, was the actual high. And then I was kind of looking on the downside and I'm like, man, they blew through this area the previous day, so I really couldn't find any good support in it. And lo and behold, it kind of traded both ends of the range. Very tricky day in that stock. For me, Dennis, if we can get back above 561.50, I think it would be able to rally and perhaps go back up to that 574 area. But coming back on the downside, Dennis, once you get below this 552.58, I mean, it's really wide open until Monday's low at 534.05. I mean, there will be traders that, oh, I missed it. It made a 530 low. It's backing and filling. I got to get in. But just buyer or seller beware. This is this pretty wicked area for Apple.
That's all we've really got time here for today, Joel. Obviously, the market being weak here, we're down 10 points. What's your closing thoughts here on the market?
Looking at the S&Ps, Dennis, we've made a low at 1302 and a quarter. Really no significant low there. We did have a close from last week at 1301 and a quarter. I think the area of control will be 1307.50. That was yesterday's low. If we can get back above, hold that area, I think we have a chance to work our way back towards the close. Coming back on the downside, Dennis, it's not going to be free money being just short this thing under the Globex low. I think you're going to have people that, I missed buying it under 1300. If it comes back under 1300, I'm going to be some buyers too. So I don't think really that's going to be a butt kicking in the market today. Look for buyers, like I said, around the $1,300 level, and we need to hold 1307.50 for a rally. That's our show for today, folks, and we'll be back with you tomorrow.